to Free Coding Academy's Unit 4 review video for Computer Science A. Unit 4 is called Iteration. Topic 4.1, While Loops. Loops repeat a group of statements until a condition becomes false. So most loops use a control variable which goes through 3 steps. First, initialize the variable, test the loop's condition, next, change during each loop cycle to eventually stop the loop. So in a while loop, the condition is checked before each iteration. If the condition is true, the loop body runs. This repeats until the condition becomes false. If the condition is false from the start, the loop body doesn't run at all, so the loop never begins. So this is an example of the structure of a while loop. So first you have int counter is equal to 0, so this is your counter variable. And so while counter is less than 10, system.out.println hit the like button. Counter plus plus. So first, you have counter initialized to the value 0. And so in the while loop, it's checking if the value of counter is less than 10. So first, 0 is less than 10, so it's going to go into the loop body. And so it's going to hit the like button once, and then it's going to increment the counter variable, which is 0, by 1. So 0 is going to increase to 1. And so it's going to go back here again and check if the value of counter is less than 10, 1 is less than 10, so it's going to print this again, and then it's going to increment again, over and over again, until counter reaches the value of 10, at which point 10 is less than 10 becomes false, and the while loop stops executing its body. So a loop that never ends when the condition is always true is called an infinite loop. Off by 1 errors happen when a loop runs one time too many or too few. Next, topic 4.2, for loops. So a for loop has 3 parts in its header. First, initializing. This sets the starting value of the loop control variable. Next, the condition, a Boolean test that decides whether to continue looping. Next, updating, changes the control variable, usually increment or decrement. So an example of the for loop. So for int I is equal to 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus, system.out.println, subscribe to Free Coding Academy. So first, it's initializing the counter variable I to 0. Next, the condition, it's checking whether I is less than 10. Finally, it's updating by incrementing the counter variable I. So the initialization runs once before the loop begins and defines the loop control variable. In every loop cycle, the loop body runs first. The control variable is updated, incremented, or decremented, then the condition is checked again to decide if the loop continues. Any for loop can be rewritten as a while loop and vice versa. So if you compare this for loop to the while loop, you'll see there are many similarities, and every single for loop can be rewritten as a while loop and vice versa. Next, topic 4.3, developing algorithms using strings. So string traversal refers to how loops are commonly used to go through each character or section of a string. So you're basically looping through every character or section of that string. So common string algorithms you'll usually be asked for in CSA. Search for properties. So check if one or more substrings have a specific feature. So for instance, you're checking if they all start with A, or if they all contain the substring ing or something like that. And next, count matches. So determine how many substrings meet certain conditions, such as how many times the word the appears. Next, reverse strings. So build a new string by looping through the original one backwards. And for all of these, you'll find loops are very useful. Next, topic 4.4, nested iteration. So a nested iteration or loop means placing one loop inside another, a loop within a loop. So the outer loop controls the overall structure, while the inner loop executed repeated steps within each cycle of the outer loop. So for each pass of the outer loop, the inner loop runs all the way through first. The outer loop doesn't move to its next cycle until the inner loop has finished every iteration for the current cycle. Topic 4.5, informal code analysis. So a trace table is a tool used to follow how variables change during each loop, and they are very, very useful for tracking how variables change during loops, especially nested loops. So during each loop iteration, it helps debug and understand how values progress over time. Next, runtime analysis. This involves counting how many times each line or code segment runs, and this helps evaluate the performance and detect inefficiencies. Next, execution count for a single loop. So the formula for the execution count is the largest value minus the smallest value plus 1. So this gives the total number of iterations, assuming the loop counter moves by 1 and includes both endpoints. Next, nested loop execution. So total iteration is equal to the outer loop count times the inner loop count. The inner loop completes fully for every single iteration of the outer loop. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and please be sure to check out the video reviewing Unit 5.